We just got infants in The Sims 4 for the first time, and you may be wondering, what are the differences between the base game infants and infants with the new Growing Together expansion pack? That's what this video is about. Let's talk about the differences and some of the similarities between these two versions of infants. The first difference I'm going to be discussing is how trying food in the high chair works. Base game infants can begin to try new foods in the high chair as soon as they age up. With the help of an adult, they can explore foods like mango, pumpkin puree, hummus, and lemon, though all of my infants so far have hated lemon. But with the Growing Together expansion pack, infants can graduate to finger foods, which kind of work the same way. There's a different menu for it, but they can only try these finger foods with adult help, and they won't take a bite on their own until the adult feeds it to them. Doesn't really seem like finger foods to me. But there are 4 options: banana slices, ODOs, peanut butter puffs, and yogurt melts. However, they don't seem to be based on the other foods that your infant already likes that you can try in the high chair normally. So your sim might dislike yogurt but like yogurt melts for some reason. I don't really know what the point of finger foods is. It's just kind of adding 4 more options to the list, but it's not really that different from the other food you can try. Another difference with Growing Together is that you can't use high chairs right away. First, your infant has to sit up, which can take several steps, and it might be a few days before you can put them in a high chair. Even then, they won't be able to try finger foods until they master the pincher grasp milestone, which also takes a while. Honestly, I think the base game feature is plenty here, and you can actually use it right away, unlike with Growing Together. Plus, it doesn't seem that your infant liking or disliking these foods even matters in the long run. Like, once they age up, it's just gone. It doesn't matter. An infant who disliked peas and yogurt will age up into a toddler who doesn't care at all and will just eat them totally normally. There's no difference between a food they previously loved or previously hated, no special moodlet or anything like that. You also can't add likes or dislikes until they're a child, but even then we still don't have a food category, which I kind of thought we were gonna get one. Apparently not. The only way trying these foods could affect your sim later in life is if you make like a list or take a screenshot of what food they like and then play them that way, but the game doesn't make it easy to do. It's a cool feature, I guess, but like, what's the point in trying all of these foods and getting preferences and then it doesn't even matter once you age up? Honestly, I think the base game version of this feature is plenty. Finger foods don't really add anything, and it's actually nice to be able to use the high chair right away. Now, let's talk about another way that milestones affect infants. So like with using high chairs, pretty much any interactions your infants can do is locked behind a milestone if you have the Growing Together expansion pack. If you want your infant to be able to do things on their own, it's going to take a lot of work with an adult first. A big part of that is tummy time. Before an infant can lift their head, roll over, sit up, or crawl, they've got to do lots and lots of tummy time. This is something that requires adults' help, and also the infants, hate it. They cry the entire time, and you have to do it over and over and over to get a single milestone. Plus, it's The Sims, so even getting them to do tummy time at all and not just continuously pick up the infant in a loop is already hard. But with base game infants, they can crawl right away. It's actually really cute, and I think it's a good step before the tentative walking of toddlers. They'll still need a lot of help and care, but they're not just stuck on the ground, unable to move their heads, roll over, or get closer to a toy until you've completed several days of straight tummy time. Honestly, I hate tummy time. I hate that the infants cry the whole time. I hate that they have to have constant adult supervision for it. I hate that you probably have to do it 15 to 20 times before they can even sit up or move at all on their own, all while still taking care of their needs and letting infants nap every couple of hours. Personally, I'll take the base game infants who can crawl and move their heads right away, but if you like a challenge, maybe you'll enjoy the slog through all of the milestones. And, well, if you have the Growing Together expansion pack and want your infants to have fun, you'll have to. Because your infant's fun need will be completely grayed out until they learn to sit up for some reason. How do they get that milestone? Well, in order to have fun, they must first go through the torture known as tummy time. Base game infants, though, are born knowing how to have fun. They can play with toys, they can wiggle to music, they can even watch TV if an adult turns it on. I mean, maybe not having to manage your infant's fun need is kind of a bonus, but at least with base game infants, they can find ways to entertain themselves without the constant tummy time. Moving on, the next thing that differentiates base game and Growing Together infants, we have Quirks. All infants will have one trait, so they could be calm, cautious, intense, sensitive, sunny, or wiggly. But with the Growing Together expansion, we get quirks, which can also apply to toddlers, by the way. Quirks for infants include things like good appetite, snuggly sleeper, hates wake-up time, gassy, messy eater, frequently sneezes, stuff like that. And this is a good way to add a bit more uniqueness to each of your infants. They'll need slightly different things and get upset about different things, but they can also be kind of hard to deal with. So like, my infant got the snuggly sleeper trait, which says, this infant only likes to fall asleep when they're being held. Infants with this quirk will cry when they're put down to sleep, even if they're being soothed. They prefer to sleep while being held or in a back carrier. Except, from what I've seen, most babies seem to cry when they're trying to go to sleep. Like, every single time. Why do they cry so much? Infants cry all of the time. Like, I get it. I get that there's some reality to it, but every time they try to go to sleep, every time you do tummy time with them, they will cry, no matter what. It's so frustrating. When an infant's already in a crib, you can like soothe them to sleep, but it only slightly reduces how long they cry for when they're trying to go to sleep, and it doesn't always work. With a snuggly sleeper sim, it seems like the only way they can go to sleep without crying is if you let them sleep in your arms, which is really cute, but you can't put them down or do basically anything while this is happening. Your adult sim is just a bed now. And I know the trait says they also like to sleep in a back carrier, but no, they'll still cry if they try to go to sleep while in a back carrier. And you'd think that a back carrier like this would leave your sims hands free to do other things, right? But pretty much all they can do is walk, maybe talk to other sims, and play on their phone. If you want them to paint or clean up some dishes or repair a sink, they're gonna take the baby out of the carrier. Well, unless the baby's asleep, sims will not wake up a sleeping infant. Instead, they'll just kind of stand there doing nothing, waiting for the infant to wake up. No matter what you queue up for them, they're just waiting. I guess that's the fourth difference between base game and Growing Together infants. You only get the back carrier with the expansion pack, but it doesn't really change anything. It kind of just makes you look cooler when you walk somewhere with an infant. It will let you carry 2 infants at a time, so I guess that's something. The next difference we have is another piece of gear that you only get with the expansion pack, and that's changing tables. I think a lot of people are kind of upset at this, but yeah, there are no changing tables for infants in the base game. Your sims will still change the infants' diapers, they just do it the same way that sims always have changing toddlers' diapers, kind of throwing them in the air. Of course now, changing any diaper will also leave a dirty diaper on the ground unless you have a trash can nearby for them to go into. So I guess that's one benefit of the changing table. Some of them have like a trash can attached. There's something kind of weird about this whole thing though. There are 3 changing tables that come with the pack, and they're all made to go well with the base game furniture sets. But they also all match one of the cribs. And cribs are only in base game. There aren't any extra cribs in the pack. So my question is why? Why make matching cribs and changing tables but only have cribs in base game and then only have changing tables in the pack? Like, why wouldn't you have 1 or 2 versions of each in the base game and then maybe some new fun versions in Growing Together? I don't know, that just seems like a really weird way to do it. So yeah, I'm not super impressed with the additions to infants that we get in Growing Together. It can be a challenge for sure, but like, as far as fun gameplay, I'm not sure it really adds that much. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great that base game infants are fun, and they are. There's actually a lot of stuff you can do with them, and just taking care of their needs will take up plenty of your time. But if you were gonna buy the expansion pack just for infants, I would probably hold off on that and save your money until the packs go on sale. With that said, there are 2 things I want to discuss that are not different between base game and Growing Together infants, and the first one is that they don't have skills. I think this is important to address because I think a lot of people, like myself, assume that infant skills would come with Growing Together, but no, like, infants just don't have skills. No infants have skills. They can still get bonus traits and bonus skills when aging up because of like how you took care of them and the milestones they reached, but please don't buy the pack for infant skills because they do not exist. So yeah, just a few things to keep in mind. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something about infants in The Sims 4. If you did, you can support me by liking the video, maybe subscribing so you don't miss future videos from me. Also, please let me know in the comments if there are other differences I missed, and if you agree with my opinions about base game versus Growing Together infants. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.